Hi, it's time for this week's comic book review slash haul. And if you notice, did it differently this time. I didn't go, hi, so. I'm breaking it, yes. So, ah! Anyway. Yeah, that's going to be the new one. Anyway, so. I can't stop myself. Fuck. Oh, it's 24 seconds, it's fine, I can swear. Fuck. Anyway, gonna look at 10 comics, what I got this week. Two of them have been out in the shops, in some shops, for quite a while, but we got delayed coming to my local comic shop. So we're going to look at Image first, and the first one up is Falling in Love on the Path to Hell by Jerry Duggan and Gary Brown. What I hate about this comic, and this happened with the last issue, they don't give the credits. They've got the surnames on the front, but they don't give the credits. I don't know if so I can't really say the colouring is good because I don't know who's done it. That really annoys me. What I do like, they've got a really concise letters page. The artwork by Brown is gorgeous. I presume it's Brown anyway who's doing the artwork because, like I said, no credits. So as mentioned on previous reviews of the first two issues, it's basically this female samurai and this male gunslinger, and they've kind of died but not died, kind of like in this limbo land. And they've met up with this team of survivors, kind of, in this land, who've asked them to join them in this fight against the undead, and they don't want to, and so these survivors aren't good guys really, and there's scenes in this what I can't describe because I think my video wouldn't be allowed to be shown here, but it's grim. Think about Deliverance, Suey, and you'll get what I mean. But the people who want to do that kind of get the comeuppance. But I'll tell you what this reminded me of. I'm an old sci-fi head. I love classic sci-fi from the 60s and 70s, and it reminds me very much the storyline. I don't know if this is plagiarism or not, but if you've ever read the Philip Joseph Armour series, To Your Scattered Bodies Go, the Fabulous Riverboat saga or whatever it was, where basically Mark Twain and other famous people and other people, instead of going to heaven, they end up on this new land. And this is so. I wondered what past two issues of reading this, thinking this reminds me of something, and it clicked this issue. It's very much like the Riverboat Saga by Philip Joseph Armour, and I do recommend if you've never read that. I know it's not a comic. If you've never read it, it's a fantastic science fiction slash fantasy series. But yeah, the artwork's still good. The storyline is great, like some wonderful big panels. Um, it's not progressing as fast as I'd like, really, but it's still intriguing enough to keep me invested, unlike Locomon, which I've dropped. What I didn't like about Locomon was the backups. I was just skim reading them, so I thought, I'll stop it. I might get the trades eventually. I'm being very strict on what I get because there's so much good stuff coming out soon, especially from DC and Image and Distillery. But yeah, still very good. 8 out of 10. I do recommend picking it up. There's only been 3 issues so far. And another one which is constantly good. Beautiful cardstock cover. $3.99. Oh yeah, $3.99 for that as well. And this is part of the Ghost Machine line from Image. This is Geiger. So it's part of the Unnamed Universe. Gorgeous cover. So yeah, beautiful artwork by Gary Frank and Anderson as per usual. So if last issue something dramatic happened to Geiger's beloved dog, the two-headed dog, and this guy is a new villain who's suddenly made his appearance, and he's the first person who's found the weakness of Geiger, or the glowing man as he's known to his enemies. So there's the dog. So that's a bit of a spoiler, but it's a dramatic episode. It flies by. It's 22 pages, I think, but it flies by so quickly because you get so invested. It's just wonderful. There's never been a weak issue of Geiger, and I'm loving how the universe is being fleshed out really nicely, but not at a crazy pace, and not with so many characters you lose where you are with the plot. It reminds me very much of a comic this is when I know I'm old. A comic from the 80s from Eclipse called Scouts by Timothy Truman. It's got that same kind of post-apocalyptic vibe with a slight cool undercurrent, a bit like a apocalyptic western. And yeah, I'm loving it. Constantly 9 out of 10, just wonderful. And another one which came out in America last week, but in the UK it was delayed by a week. This is The Power Fantasy by Kieran Gillen and Caspar Wingard. I love Kieran Gillen's work when he's doing his independent stuff. I'm not a huge fan of his stuff on Marvel and mainstream comics, but when he's teamed up with Caspar Wingard, who did has he? No, he's not. I don't know if he's done any work with Caspar. Yeah, he did something for Dynamite. Sorry, my comic encyclopedia in my brain. Yeah, he did Thunderbolts with Caspar and Wingard for Dynamite. He reinvented Pete Cannon Thunderbolts. Why do I know such useless shit? I don't know. I've never even read the comic, but I just know he did that with him. There you go. Anyway, enough about my anally retentive brain. This is $3.99. No adverts. Completely crammed full of story and gorgeous art. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14. There's about 32 pages of story in here, and beautiful, beautiful artwork by Caspar Wingard. He's just got such a great grasp of colour and form, and keeping things simple when it needs to be and detailed when it needs to be. He's just a real. He's a modern master of his craft. He really is such a good storyteller. His panel layouts are great. I love the way he uses colours, so he doesn't feel limited by keeping the same colour tone for each image. So the colours can convey mood as well. There's a very nice modernist streak to his artwork with a retro feel at the same time, if that makes any sense. So anyway, it's a fresh take on superheroes. There's a group of superheroes scattered across the world, and they're like elevated godlike beings. I guess in a way it's what Kieran Gillen was trying to do with X-Men, but because of the restrictions of it being a licensed property with Marvel, there's only so much he could do. So he's basically, it must have given him a spark of idea, what can I do with superheroes, and this is him just letting loose. It's quite verbose for the first 12 pages, a lot of dialogue, and I must admit the first 10 pages, 11 pages, my interest was waning a bit. I was just chugging on, but then it clicks. There's a moment in it when it clicks, when it brought in the other characters, but the artwork kept me entertained. But when the other characters got revealed, and then I understood it. Then I understood the premise. I don't want to say too much. You need to read it to experience it for yourself. It's a very grown-up version of superheroes. It's very much like an Alan Moore kind of take on superheroes. Very illiterate. It's everything that I think Jonathan Hickman would like to do with a superhero comic. Jonathan Hickman gives great ideas, but the plot, you can tell when he loses interest in something, like with Gods. Great plot, and then, hey, let's skip a year for the last issue, and it made no sense. This makes a lot of sense. Great world building, fascinating characters. There's no good guys and bad guys. It's basically humans against godlike superhero beings, and there's good and bad with each one. It reminds me very much of like a Rick Veitch, Max Immortal kind of comic called The One. It's got a very 80s superhero sensibility, where they were pushing the boundaries. I feel like superhero comics have taken a step back compared to the 80s and, say, the Vertigo years of the 90s with Shady Change Man and Doom Patrol, etc. But we're not pushing boundaries as much. But I feel like Kieran Gillen's trying to do that with this. And it's a very impressive start, and I'm going to carry on with this. $3.99, 32 story pages. The Power Fantasy #1, really good, 9 out of 10. And this comic I've been loving. I sung its praises when I bought the 3 issues all at once a few weeks back. I'm surprised this came out so quickly. Dick Tracy #4 this is, by Alex Segura and Michael Marachi on writing, and Geraldo Borges on artwork. His artwork is coming up stronger and stronger and stronger each issue. Reminds me very much of the Sean Martinborough kind of artist. Alex Segura is going to be the new writer on the New Question comic, so I'm excited for that. He does crime so fucking well. I really recommend it. The artwork as well is just a pleasure. I love this open space where the images flow, very Will Eisnerish that, especially with the way of the lettering in the background. So it's got a very retro but modern sensibility to it. It's almost like it's got. I think I mentioned this before. It's got a feel of Brian De Palma's The Untouchables, that kind of flavour. This is Dick Tracy done right. This is what they should have done with the film back in the late 80s. This is really, really good. It's a hard-hitting crime noir, one of the best crime comics on the market. I love the reinventions of Dick Tracy's uh, League of Villains. It's just so great. They're actually not just cartoon characters now. They are actually somebody who you wouldn't want to cross. And there's a great conspiracy going on. There's a lot of corruption in the police force as well. It's like Dick Tracy's the only one true cop, and the rest basically just working for the baddies. For the baddies. Yeah. It's just great. It's just wonderful. I zipped through this. It was a page turner. It's a classic cliffhanger kind of comic where I was so glad it came out so quickly. Yeah, 9 out of 10. Really enjoying it. It's a great week. I'm very strict with my comics now. If it gets below 6.5, I'll stop it. Unfortunately, not a lot of these are for my enjoyment, but for my bank, it's not so great. And another one that's great. This took ages to come into our shop, not our shop, but the shop I go to. And this is the Goon. Them That Don't Stay Dead, issue number 2. Beautiful artwork. There's nothing else like the Goon on the market. Pardon me. This is basically the only way I could synopsis. Oh, pardon me. I did myself some raps and repeating on me, so I do apologise. Not very professional. This is like if Will Eisner did a horror comic. It's like got Will Eisner's sensibilities. I've mentioned Will Eisner a lot, but this is like the spiritual cousins to Dick Tracy. It's got that nice retro yet modern flavour to it. The artwork is just beautiful. It would not work in colour. It works so well in this grey wash. And again, like what I mean by Will Eisner, it's like the panels flow one to another, which is a trick what Will Eisner did, especially like with the lettering without a box or anything. It's just so organic. And so basically this character who was dead is not dead anymore, and he's come basically for revenge against the Goon. And it's like this little pipsqueak of a villain fighting the gigantic Goon, and it's just great. Yeah, it's a blast. 9 out of 10. And another comic what I'm loving. Why not? Look, fuck the negative channels, fuck things like Thinking Critical and all those who just use clickbait to slag off comics. They're doing damage to the comic industry, not doing anything positive. I'm here to promote stuff I love, and I'm loving everything that I'm buying, so, apart from one. But that was a blind buy. Literally, I'll explain why in a second. But Green Lantern, number 14. So this is another absolute power tie-in. Jeremy Adams is doing the Lord's work. He's making me love Hal Jordan. I don't normally care for Hal Jordan. I like all the other Green Lanterns apart from Hal Jordan, really. But he's making him like that. First 6 issues, I thought, he's an asshole. He came across really like a toxic boyfriend. But yeah, he's just good in here. And the artwork by Pesarin. The pencil Fernando Pesarin and inker Claire Albert is so nice. Really nicely detailed. I love this portrayal, especially of Alan Scott, and they've got Alan Scott's personality perfectly. He's just got this gravitas, what being the senior statesman of the Green Lanterns deserves. It's just wonderful, and I love this interplay between one of the robots. Forgot what robots are they? Are the Mazo robot? It's just great, and I like how Jordan. He's just. I love how he's running rings around everybody without his powers, without his ring. He's finding all these. He's found this supply room full of all the confiscated superhero weapons and devices, and he's using them all to fight. It's a blast. There's a moment where was it? Where I just burst out laughing. Here it is. So there's these villains trying to find him, and they go on the count of 3, 1, 2, and then Hal Jordan says 3. And he uses the Condiment King's guns, and this villain goes, I have spicy mustard in my eyes. It's just wonderful. I had a great big grin on my face. It was a blast. This is what Green Lantern should be. It should be set in space, which this is. It should be hijinks. It should be balls to the wall action. It should be fun, and this is a fun ride. So yeah, I take it. I didn't like Jeremy Adams on The Flash, but I love what he's doing with the Green Lantern. And there's a nice little backup by Mark Guggenheim and artist Derek Robinson. Gorgeous artwork by Derek Robinson. This is focusing on the Shadow Lancers, the ones who work for the villains. Yeah, 9 out of 10. Another 9 out of 10. What can I say? And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be negative here as well. This is number 3 of Batman Gotham by Gaslight, The Kryptonian Age. Beautiful cover. So now we're introduced to the Elseworlds version of Diana. Her story is very different to what we normally have for Diana. Andy Diggle, who's up to his game with the writing, it's so good. This has got very much the feel of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, that Victoriana, not cyberpunk. It's got like a steampunk flavour to it. It's got monsters, it's got deception, it's got brothels. It's just great. I love the reinterpretation again in here of different characters. Alan Scott's in here as well, so there's an Elseworlds version of Alan Scott, and he also bring back Matches Malone. Again, I don't want to show you too much because you really need to experience it. The artwork is gorgeous. It's $4.99, but again, 32 story pages. Why can every other company do it apart from one certain company that begins with M and ends in Arvel? I don't know. But yeah, so Alan Scott appears in this as well. He's not the Green Lantern yet, but he's got a hot air balloon called the Green Lantern. And he's this kind of like charming rogue, so it's just a fun take. But it ends on a... So it delves into this version's backstory of the Wonder Woman, and it's a really fun story. But then it goes to Mars. And oh my goodness, I cannot wait. It's going to feature one of my favourite DC characters, John Johns. So the Elseworlds version of that, can't wait to see what it's like. Like I said, it is very League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That's what it reminds me of. Absolutely love it. 9 out of 10. What can I say? DC are doing fantastic work at the moment. And one that I took a punt on. I read the first series of this digitally. I've got it on digital. I thought, I'll give it a try. The cover just grabbed my attention. I'm just loving what they're doing with Elseworlds at the moment. And this is DC vs. Vampire World War V. It's by the same team, but James Tynion drops out of this now. So it's Matthew Rosenberg just doing the sole writing on it, and Otto Smith doing the artwork. He's grown on me, Otto Smith. I found him a bit messy with the last series, but he's coming to his own here. I don't know if he's doing his own colouring. No, he's not, but the colourist is working perfectly with him. It just seems to have much more of a flow. Matthew Rosenberg's humour in this is second to none. I just love the whole concept. I love how they've moved on enough from the previous storyline. All you need to know is that Barbara Gordon now is the Queen of the Vampires. And then there's another faction of vampires led by Damian Wayne, and then there's the humans led by Oliver Queen. But the artwork is really beautiful. The dialogue is so snappy. There's again 32 story pages. There's no lag in the storytelling. There's no heavy info dumping or exposition. The dialogue is just there for necessity. It keeps the story flowing, and it's good dialogue. Each character has their own personality in the dialogue. It's just not cut and paste. Brian Michael Bendis, we are not pointing fingers, but you did a lot of that in your Marvel career. Yeah, it's just wonderful. So it develops the storyline further. I think this is either a 6-issue or 12-issue series. And I'm in for it again. Damn it, it's more comics to buy. 9 out of 10. I'm sorry, but I'm happy about this. Why buy comics and give them a low and not enjoy them? I'm all the ones I'm sticking with are making me happy still. If I don't like it, I'll just quietly drop them. Because again, like I said, I don't want this channel to be negative. Keeping it positive. I really want to push stuff what I think you'll enjoy. If I'm enjoying it, I think I've got good taste in comics. I've been reading comics for nearly 50 years now. One that I took a chance on again. I read the Comico series again back in the 80s, God. And this is Johnny Quest. This is written by one of my favourite all-round writers, Joe Casey. Artwork by Sebastian Perez. I didn't order this because Dynamite Sunshine, the artwork can be a bit shit. They can have fantastic covers, but then the artwork aside can be a bit lackluster. But the art, I've noticed they're coming stronger now. Like Space Ghost art's really good, and Thundercats art's okay as well. But the artwork in this and the colouring is just beautiful, and it's a very clever use of the franchise. They've really, Joe Case has done a very ingenious way with the story to move it on, to make it appeal to modern day sensibility, while still maintaining the affection and reverence for the classic 1960s cartoon. So Johnny Quest, if you're not familiar, it's about this boy Johnny Quest, his best friend, who I can't remember the name of, and Race and Johnny Quest's dad as well, who's this scientist. This is what they pick. They did like the spoof of. You can the Venture Brothers was like a spoof of this, but it's fun. There's a big plot twist, which pushes the storyline forward. The artwork, like I said, is really nice, and it's got some of the nicest colouring of a comic this year. Not this year, this week. Yeah, there's a pleasure to read. I'd give this an 8.5 out of 10. Oh, that was a harsh marking. But yeah, I'm going to come back for number 2. And then, one that I took a blind punt from, literally, and I'm annoyed. Not at me buying it, but at Marvel's practice doing the Red Band comics. Why not just make... It's... Right, so this is it. I got Werewolf by Night. I love the cover. I love the character of Jack Russell, Werewolf by Night, but I don't like what Red Band Comics. Why bag up a comic so you don't know what the artwork's like inside? You don't know what the storytelling's like. They've got explicit content in here, and yet the sensitive swearing. So the swearing's all these squiggles. So it's falling in this weird limbo land of it's not really adult, and it's not really teen up plus. It's not. It's a nothing. It's a gimmick. The reason is for a few little pages like that, but I've seen worse stuff like that in Ghost Rider. It's just, and the art is very, very cartoony. And like I said, if I'd have been able to look at it if they had it open, I'd have looked at it, I wouldn't have bought it. The writer on it is, this is what I'm finding with Marvel now. They push out so much product, then they have about 8 prime titles who they give to the big name writers, and like the other 50 or whatever titles, which is no exaggeration, they have tons of product they push out. They just give to anybody. There are no name writers, and say this is a new upcoming writer. It's not. So the writer is Jason Liu and the artist is Sergio Davila. I don't know who either one of those are. This is the difference between DC and Marvel. DC, every comic that they've got out, especially now, the artists are top tier or close to top tier artists, and they're consistent, and the writers are the same. Even the new ones are writers have made names by doing Image Comics, etc. You just know you're getting quality product. But this, I want to be positive, but I'm finding it hard to be positive. The positive side, cover is really gorgeous. I love the cover. This is another thing that annoyed me. Gives this little blurb introducing Jack Russell, where he came from, etc. And then it starts with this cheesy opening with this vlogger, which is going to age so badly in the next few years. So he's investigating this spooky house, and he goes on about werewolves, blah blah blah. And then when Jack Russell suddenly appears, he goes, "Oh, squiggle, squiggle, squiggle." See, why can't they just say, "Oh shit"? He says it's Werewolf by Night. He wouldn't call himself Werewolf by Night. Nobody would say, "Hi, I'm Werewolf by Night." It'd be like me saying, like, "I'm Mandy, run quickly," which I can't. I don't. But you know what I mean? It's just, you know what I mean? You know, it's just crazy. It's just really naff and cheesy. And this one, I mean, the artwork is just not horror. There's no horror sensibility to it. And again, squiggle, squiggle. He outdoes Tom King for squiggle swearing. It's just chunky, and he goes on about Transylvania on nearly every page. It's just overkill. it's I don't know if he's doing it seriously, if he's trying to just be camp with the story, but it's not an enjoyable read. And it jumps about. So there's this scene on here, and then there's this page. Then I couldn't work out for the first. I had to keep flicking backwards and forwards, going, "Is this an advert?" And it wasn't. It was part of the story, but it just jumps to that, and then it jumps to this. It's just so bad. The art's passable, but like I said, it's very cartoony. Like I said, Transylvania. They keep on going about Transylvania. It's this weird thing what Marvel do with horror. They can never do a straight up horror comic. It's always got to be horror, but superhero adjacent. So even when the horror characters, they're still superheroes. What I like about DC, when they do horror comics, even when it was Justice League Dark, it was horror, it was weird, it was ooky, it was icky. This isn't. Yeah, there's that stuff, but nah. Yeah, and that stuff. See, I'm showing you this so you don't need to waste your money on a Red Band comic. It's so clunky. And then she just suddenly appears, Elsa Bloodstone, because she was in the Werewolf by Night movie. It's nothing to do with the history of the comics, it's to do with the movie. And my name is Elsa Bloodstone. She doesn't need to tell you. I don't like how they're doing the first person dialogue as well, to be honest. I think it'd work better if they said, here is Elsa Bloodstone, blah blah blah. Why would she suddenly say my name is Elsa Bloodstone? Who she's talking to? You know what I mean? Oh no, it's just it's I got this to do this video basically because I knew I was taking a huge risk, and I did it just to say Red Band comics are a very bad idea. It is a gimmick. It's like the QR codes, what they put in the mutant comics, what they're now stopping. I hope Marvel realise that people are not happy with this. I'm not the only one who's commented on this. I wanted to like this. I really did. Like I said, I love Werewolf by Night. One of my favourite Marvel comics of the 90s, I think it was, or the early aughts, was Werewolf by Night by Paul Jenkins and Leonardo Manco. That was gorgeous. It was such a great horror comic. I love the Man-Thing, what was done by James DeMatteis back in the day. Marvel have no good horror anymore. It's all superhero. It's superhero horror. It's weird. It's this neither one thing nor the other. So for this cover, 8 out of 10. Comic, 4.5 out of 10. Promotional idea of plastic bag in a comic. Didn't work with Death of Superman. It doesn't work with this. 0 out of 10 for the red band bagging idea. So finish on a downer, but not really. It was an experiment that sucks. I can't get my money back either. This is what annoys me as well. At least with my comic shop, you can exchange comics if they're faulty if you're just not satisfied. But I can't just say, I opened this and can I get it changed because I don't like it. Marvel, you've fucked us all up. So that's it. I'm hoping to do a look at the new releases for November when the Marvel ones drop. So I'll be looking at Marvel, DC, Image and Distillery. And I'll be doing my 2000 AD Into the Iso Cubes. I think I've got 2 months worth of that to do. So yeah, so have a really nice few days or whatever you're doing. And I don't know why I'm doing this, but I just like doing this. I think it's because in my head I just want to go, anyway, but I'm trying to break the habit. So yeah. Right, okay, bye. See you soon. Mwah.